combined seas total over 130 million square miles, with some areas over 12,000 feet deep. They say there is a lot of fish in the sea, but I'm sure they never saw these unique monsters. What are the latest catches around? What does a 1 in a million sea monster really look like? This Eagle Mountain fisher broke the Idaho state record and probably every record in the state, catching an insane gigantic white sturgeon. Greg Paulson and his wife Angie were on a couple's trip to catch some fish. The goal they had in mind was a legendary white sturgeon, one of North America's largest freshwater fish. Yet he couldn't believe his eyes when he caught this insane monster over 10 feet long on CJ Strike Reservoir. Greg found out who the king of the reservoir was, a 10-foot 4-inch monster sturgeon that set the records and media on fire. An unforgettable fishing day for Greg and his family, who overcame the record in 2019 with another 9.96 feet sturgeon. The king will stay in the reservoir since it can only be caught on a catch and release basis. They can't be removed from the water while handling. A rule that saved Greg from immense back pain while protecting the fish in pristine conditions, since they can take over a decade to mature and have infrequent reproduction. You never know what you can catch next while fishing. Anything goes in Cambodian rivers, as a 42-year-old fisherman found out in the most insane way possible, catching what scientists called the biggest freshwater fish, a giant stingray that scientists know nothing about. So far, they know that it's a massive 661-pound stingray with 13 feet in length, found on a remote island near the Mekong River in the Stung Treng area. A team of scientists from the Wonders of Mekong Research Project helped tag, measure, and weigh this massive animal. And yeah, they need several people to measure it since, according to the scientists, it is one of the world's largest stingrays ever captured. This giant stingray weighed 661 pounds, about the same size as a grizzly bear and the same length, 13 feet with tail included, as long as a pickup truck. It is hard to imagine such an insane animal on the river, yet it lived all this time, keeping predators at bay with no competition whatsoever. The Cambodian fisher never expected to come across such a giant species. He made an unprecedented scientific discovery in a day's work. The giant stingray is the current record holder for the biggest freshwater fish ever found. However, it seems even the most secluded riverbanks still have a lot of surprises yet to uncover. Mool Thun, the hero of this story, caught the world record stingray with nothing more than a hook and line on the evening of June 13th. The day after the fisherman got in contact with the research group, for months, the scientists asked the local fishermen if they found something that no one was supposed to see. They paid him the market price for such an insane catch. A massive stingray with a mouth as big as a banana that eats hundreds of shrimps, mollusks, and small fish just to keep his weight. They didn't dub our following catch Frankenstein for nothing. Look at it, one look is enough to know why. Roman Fedostov, a deep-sea fisherman working on a trawler in North Russia, shared this deep-sea something, nobody knows how to call it, on Instagram. You can only imagine how that went. Thousands of people were commenting on it and filling the post with likes. The Instagram feed was shocked that they received such weird posts from the deep sea. For Roman, it wasn't just any catch. This fisherman devoted his entire life to looking for unknown creatures on the high seas. He spends months at sea posting his everyday routine as a sailor for 649,000 followers, where he shared many more weird-looking findings. Among those creatures, he also caught an almost translucent catch with sweeping fins and a long thresher tail, with an eye that would keep anybody awake at night, a fish that could fuel any nightmare. Many users are trying to guess where this Frankenstein came from. Some even suggest that it's straight out of Pokemon. Yet one user saw it before, calling it a ghost chimera, or, as some may have heard, ghost shark. And nobody can blame that user. Once you see such a distinct creature, you can never forget it. A Maine fisherman decided to take a spontaneous fishing trip and ended up with the surprise of his life. Randy Thurston has been looking for striped bass, the largest species in the sea bass family, since his early 20s. That's a long journey to make his dream come true out of nowhere. He wasn't planning on catching anything special that day until he reeled in an insane 50-inch monster in length. So far, he's been catching 12s that got him completely hooked on the sport. Yet, despite going fishing for so many years, he never came across such a massive surprise. Striped bass is a giant fish that can easily reach up to 5 feet and weigh around 77 pounds. and they can also keep the story alive for a long time since they live for up to 30 years. So does that mean Randy could come across this monster one more time? Mark the date, August 1st, 2022, when a sports fisherman's 45-pound dream came true. After the fisherman caught it, she was released back into the water to be on another rod's wish list. An underwater tiger is a real thing. The internet exploded recently when this fisherman posted the mighty tiger picture. A massive tiger muskie got caught on Connecticut's Lake Lilinona. And not just any tiger, the first one to be caught in the region. Joe Rivas measured this bad boy 42 inches of raw power. He was angry and gave Joe the fight of his life. Joe's adrenaline went through the roof after such a tremendous experience. Just imagine looking at the end of your rod, you get that epic specimen fighting its way out. This almost science fiction looking specimen is a cross between a northern pike and a muskie lunch. Nobody knows if they are looking at a massive tiger muskie or the last Jurassic Park movie because that is massive, weird, and it looks like it has been around forever. This is one of the rarest encounters since the tiger muskie is a tough fish to catch, often nicknamed the fish of 1,000 casts. Yet Joe Rivas managed to catch one of the biggest among them, an impressive 1 in 1,000 shot. Now we are onto a fish that could make you a millionaire. Jeremy Duffy just broke the bank with a millionaire found a 77.5-pound white marlin, a new world record payout. A payout of over $4 million prize. These beautiful fishes can weigh up to 180 pounds and up to 110 inches in length, living from 25 to 30 years of age. A Maryland angler just won the 49th annual White Marlin Open, yet judging by the size of the prize, he won the contest for several decades more. Once the weighing delivered 77.5 pounds, he took home the title and the largest price ever for catching such a legendary white marlin, exactly $4,536,000. All this money went into a savage competition with 408 registered boats competing for $8 million in prizes. Among those 408 was the Bill Fisher, a boat that will reel in a martin, breaking all records in sport fishing history on the last day of the competition. Of course, it was a prize locked and loaded after 40 minutes of pure agony and teamwork. A 77-pounder won't reel in without a fight. Yet the 80s record is still intact, a legendary 135-pound white marlin taken in Poor Man's Canyon in 1980. A giant bass grouper off North Stradbroke Island left a fisherman speechless in Queensland. I mean, the catch of a lifetime. At 5 feet 7 inches long and weighing 176 pounds, this guy swims in its own league. The fisherman probably saw something pretty bizarre about this catch since he didn't want to be identified. This monster fish comes from deep below and can swim between 250 to 600 meters underwater. This is not a first for those deep-sea monsters. Perth fisherman Cameron Windsor was shocked when he caught a 110-pound bass grouper off Rottnest in Western Australia. And the list doesn't stop there. Australia seems to be a place for one-of-a-kind specimens. A tourist on a family trip never imagined he would end up with a 136-pound bass grouper off the coast of Perth. The 68-year-old woman caught a legendary bass grouper. Before that one, her biggest catch ever was a snapper about a foot long. Things escalated quickly for that old rod. A wolffish is a terrifying creature you can encounter while exploring the sea. This Maine fisherman experienced it firsthand, making a video with over 3 million views. But just by looking at this monster, you can understand why it grabs so much attention. This huge monster can growl and trash the whole boat if you let him in. He can also bite. Deep in the sea, there is nothing that could stand against that bite, a feature that makes it a top predator. That row of sharp teeth can often be seen protruding from his mouth and can inflict an excruciating bite. They can grow up to 5 feet long and weigh up to 50 pounds. Their victims, smaller fish and crustaceans. Crustaceans don't get a second chance at escaping from that jaw's sheer velocity and power. One of the craziest features of this monster is that it has dog teeth. Yeah, a canine-looking tooth. That canine companion on his mouth prevents the prey from escaping and is followed by another set of teeth in the wolf's throat. Luke Rand, 36, has been around the boat fishing for over 16 years and his father Mark for over 40 years. The duo has a lot of experience, but they never thought they would make such an incredible catch. Yet again, we meet in Maine. It seems many legendary fishes are out in the wild. In Casco Bay on August 11th, they caught the rarest bright blue lobster, a beautiful jewel hiding on the coast. A legal size and healthy-looking male for the dealer. Once they sent it to him, people in the market just couldn't stop taking pictures. This one-of-a-kind marble will stay in the tank of the family's popular Portland restaurant, Becky's Diner, so if you fancy looking for an A-line lobster, this is the place to go. Yet it is not so one-of-a-kind. A 14-year-old found another out of Casco Bay last year. Despite being the second in 2 years, these lobsters are very rare, 1 in 2 million discoveries. The local aquarium had resident lobsters ranging from yellow, orange, and calico. Most are greenish-brown. There are also white ones, yet all turn red when cooked, except for those that are white. Looking at invaders, the Asian carp takes the prize. Many fish are out there, but some are dangerous to the environment. These carps can grow up to 100 pounds, way bigger than the average fish in Minnesota, making them invincible predators for locals. They can eat all the food intended for the native fish and essentially kick them out of their territory, a human-caused destroyer for the Minnesota waters. However, researchers have found a way to stop these invaders with a very effective technique. The Asian carp don't like to be bothered by loud sounds and vibrations. They go wild and start to splash everywhere, leaving a clean path for local fishes to thrive. Research has proven in the test labs that this is an efficient method to keep them away from locals. So there is still hope, because thousands of wild Asian carps can completely decimate an entire ecosystem if they are not correctly eradicated, and Minnesota rivers are asking for help. Fisherman captured a 400-year-old monster for the first time, the mighty Greenland shark. While scientists believe this species live in the Arctic waters, this one was found in the Caribbean Reef. Florida International University doctoral candidate Devanshi Kazana was looking to tag a tiger shark in the waters off Belize, yet something way older and bigger caught their eyes. One of the lines caught a weird-looking fish. Kazana couldn't identify it right away. At first, she thought it was a six-gill shark well known for diving off coral reefs. Yet everybody on board agreed that this was something else. Nobody had seen something like this Greenland shark before. They were at the gates of an unprecedented discovery. After tagging and releasing the legendary shark and asking several colleagues, she concluded that the insane animal on the line was part of the sleeper shark family, either a Greenland shark or a Pacific sleeper. The location where they found him has a slope that descends to 9,500 feet, cold enough for the Greenland shark. This incredible discovery further supports the theory that these sharks can travel long distances, from polar latitudes to the Caribbean reefs. The first words in this fisherman's mouth were, "Did I catch the last fish before it became extinct?" An 11-year-old angler made history when he caught the last float bobbed under at Denver Sluice in 1970, over 50 years ago. The burbot is the rarest fish around, and this 64-year-old man caught the last one humanity ever saw, a large mottled wide-mouthed fish with an intense prehistoric look. After the 14-year-old caught the last fish, authorities came down from head office to visit the only specimen available, and since then, nobody has seen another float bobbed. Experts from the Ichthyological Society and the British Museum visited the young boy. Among so many hands grabbing and examining, his small friend died, but it remains on view in the Natural History Museum. Burbot became extinct due to pollution and changes in river management during the 50s and 60s. Yet the Norfolk rivers hope to reintroduce the species to the River Wissey, restocking thousands of juvenile burbots from Belgium. A fisherman in Canada recently caught an insane white sturgeon over 10 feet long and could have been well over 100 years old. Thanks to a complete newbie, Steve Eklund, this fantastic catch might teach all a thing or two about beginner luck. Steve was on a fishing trip with his friend Mark with guides from River Monster Adventures. The company delivered. It was Father's Day, and after 2 hours of intense battle, they caught a rare white sturgeon, a beast leaping out of the water, revealing a monstrous size. The giant sturgeon measured 10 feet and 1 inch long and had a circumference of 57 inches, making it a massive 700 pounds push, really strong for a 100-year-old king of the lake. The white sturgeon is the largest freshwater fish in North America and can grow to 14 feet long and over 680 kilograms, and they could also live up to 150 years old. No white sturgeon has ever been tagged, so there is a high chance this rare find is the first time it has been caught. The guide on this adventure that turned out to be a wild trip for Mark and Steve used sonar equipment to find this legendary sturgeon. Have you ever caught something that isn't supposed to exist? Well, a Connecticut angler did. At first, he thought he was hooked to a shark until a friend told him the truth. He was onto a legendary regional rare fish and a state record cobia. The fish was so strong Steve thought he was catching an immense shark, yet he stayed committed with all his guts, corrected the boat course, and boated the fish after the most brutal 90 minutes of his life. Bertolasio, after the victory, thought the rod just got another shark. Once he sent a photo to his buddy and found it was legal to keep this legendary win, he stored it. Bertolasio used a live eel bait on Long Sand Shoal to dupe the creature, and then he fought against a 44-pound cobia for over an hour. The fish even broke his fishing rod when he made a deep dive down run in a solid effort to keep the fight going. The cobia unofficially measured 54 inches long and weighed 44 pounds. The cobia is so rare in the northeastern US that the country listing doesn't even mention it, since nobody thought it was possible. The species is so infrequently caught off that the state relegates it to an exotic marine species category. Authorities don't even bother categorizing something so elusive for so many decades. There is an official record somewhere, an 18-pounder cobia in 2008, yet the 44-pound cobia will be the new king. Once Bertolasio gets all the paperwork done and weighs that monster on certified scales, a landmark cobia will be the biggest ever caught in the state. The cobia could be easily mistaken for a shark since their size and swimming style are similar, and they are commonly mistaken for those boss-like predators. Yet cobias do not have such fierce dentures, yet they could easily be mistaken once they're on the other side of your rod. They are fearsome fighters. The IGFA world record cobia weighed 135 pounds 9 ounces, caught by Jarvis Walker in 1985 using a mullet bait.